Hello everyone, it's Kay again, and I'm here today to show you something that I've recently seen on YouTube. There are a lot of these things available tutorial wise, but I was watching Scrapdaworld and she just did such a comprehensive video. I just thought, just in case any of my subscribers haven't actually seen it, I would do a replica basically of what I think it's Tanika. I think that's her first name. Apologies if it isn't, but I rather think that might be the lady's first name, and she is a prolific crafter. Excuse me a minute, I dropped my bone folder. A prolific crafter and very, very clever, and she put together this mini album, and it's actually one of the nicest ones I've seen, just using one sheet of 12 by 12 paper, and it really does come out to be quite a nice size. So what you need basically is a 12 by 12 piece of good cardstock. I'm using American cardstock here purely and simply because it's what I had to hand. And what you do is cut the cardstock down to 11 3/4 inches. I'm going to not be metric, sorry. So I've already done that, and there it is on my scoreboard. You then have to, on what would be now the short side, because you've cut that little bit off, score at 3 3/4, like so. Oh, that's 3 3/8, beg your pardon. 3 3/4 and 4. And then you go to the other end of the spectrum and you do 7 3/4 by 8. I'm going to turn that over and just reinforce, because this cardstock, if you're not very careful with it, is not good at folding. So I like to score twice just to break those fibres up a little bit more so that it doesn't split when it takes a good scoring. Then you turn once so that you're now at the 12 by 12, and you score at 5 inches and at 10 inches. And that, apart from double scoring, which I need to do, is all the scoring that's involved, and it doesn't get any easier than that. It's all really rather lovely. Okay, so that then leaves you with, if I fold them up so you can see, you've got these 3 areas at the top here, which was the 10-inch score. You can fold over at this point and burnish. I'm not going to burnish too fiercely because I'm worried about the card. And then you fold up the bottom edge to just below the score line and burnish again. It is important always when you're doing something like this to keep those score lines clear, because if you overdo it, then when it comes to folding your cardstock over, you will actually lose some of the integrity of the style of this little album. So I've done that bit. What you then do is leave those 3 little ones at the top for the time being, and with a good pair of sharp scissors, or indeed with your scoreboard if you're happy to do it that way, you cut up to the centre aisle that little area that you scored, and you do that at the top and at the bottom. So if I carry on in this manner, you'll see exactly where this is going. That's that one done, just up to that horizontal score line. Turn your card and do the same with the two short areas at the other end, and you're just going up to that first score line that's going across the way, and you do that. I'm not sure I've got that right on both areas, top and bottom. If I move my scoreboard out of the way, you might then be able to see what I'm doing. Now, once you've got these in situ, so to speak, and you've scored them down, it's very much easier and so much neater. I wouldn't have thought to do it this way if you just cut along. Oh, I did that a bit too quickly. Cut along whilst it's folded, and you end up with a really neat finish in between the pieces here. And the same at the bottom. You have already cut these, so that you're not doing anything you shouldn't be doing, and it's just simplicity itself to cut those little tab bits straight across there like that. And that is the basis of your little mini album. You then go on to score the two little score lines that you put in the beginning, and that acts as a spine for each of the pages, which is good news, because it does mean then you can use the pockets within this to keep everything in order. I've just forgotten something, 2 seconds. There was me thinking I was totally organised, and as usual I'm not really. Then you get a half round punch or a circular punch, eyeball it into the centre of your little top bit there, and just cut out, because when this is put together they become pockets. 2 and 3. And what I'm also going to do, because I like to, I'm going to round all my corners using my envelope board, and it just, for me, gives it that little bit more of a polished finish. I didn't, when I did my first one, I didn't actually put the little pocket openers in, and I regretted it once I'd put it together, so that's why I'm doing that now. Needless to say, if it's something that you wouldn't want to do on yours, all of these things are optional. It really doesn't make or break the project if you don't do the little half moon cuts like so, or indeed if you feel you don't want to round the corners. But having got that far, you then just put some adhesive on the two sides and the top bits here on each of these flaps, so that as it comes together they are all covered and they all fit down together beautifully. And then you can just bring in one side that way, bring in one side that way, and you are left with this superbly neat little album. As you open it, you've got your tab, you've got a little pocket to put some goodies in there. It can also be used for photographs, needless to say, or just to keep little bits of memorabilia in that perhaps you don't want to lose and you just want to hold on to. It might be a lovely gift for a wedding anniversary with some tickets in for a theatre show. You know, the world is your oyster for this kind of thing. And from that point on, it really is just down to decoration. So I'll bring in the one that I've finished just recently so that you can see how they look when they're all done. But it is such a lovely, lovely little album. Very, very cheap to put together, and then the decoration is entirely up to you. Now, I had some falling leaves paper left. I believe it's a Dovecraft, and this is how I've decorated the little album that I made earlier. And I've just probably overdone it in some respects, but I was quite happy just pootling along and looking to see how I could put my own stamp on it, basically. So I've put the Martha Stewart buttons, the little bit of a floral tribute here, and I've made a cage out of a bit of filigree. I've put a doily that I've cut in half for this centre bit, and just inked it up a little bit with some distress ink, and put more buttons down the bottom, a little bit of flat back bling up the top here, just to bring the beautiful natural colours out. And then when you open it up on the inside, here is the first pocket, and I have put the magnets in. You can just hear that snick. Lovely, lovely. I haven't done the cutout at the top, so it does mean it's quite a tight pocket, and as I say, having decided that I would have liked to have had that in place, that's why I've shown you how to do it on the red card one. On what is the fold-in page from the other side, I've just put a little belly band on, and with scraps of paper that were left over, I've just made a few gift tags. And it's just so as not to waste any of the paper, really. It really is a lovely paper stack, and I just thought, well, rather than have these offcuts that I can't do a lot with, I would just pop them into a belly band. They always come in handy, you know, so it's quite a nice thing to do. And then you open up, and I made another tag here with offcuts of the paper, just backed it onto craft card, and I've left that inside as well. It would fit into the pocket, but it would be very tight, and it would stop the top pockets from opening. Needless to say, if you wanted to decorate more, you could put some lace or some ribbon across the top pockets. You can't overdo it, because you've literally got that little gully there to put embellishments on, which is why I've chosen quite a decorative paper. The tabs I've done in the same card, back and front, and each of them are, as I say, magnetised. And then I've just put these blings in just to add a little bit extra to the overall look of the album. But you know, I'm just surprised at how easy they are to put together with minimal supplies, and it's just such a lovely gift that you could put into a rack or send off to family for special birthdays. It would make a lovely birthday gift. And then, you know, obviously anchoring it down and putting it together in the way that you choose to is again down to personal preference and how you want it to be sent out. But it is such a lovely idea. I felt I really did have to share it, and I know these things always improve with being passed down the line. So if you do decide that you're going to have a go at making one of these, don't forget to put it up online and let people see your take on this particular project, or any project, because someone will see it, fall in love with what you've done, and they will want to put their own stamp on it. This is the back, and I just want to say there really is nothing new in crafting. I don't believe it's possible to step on anyone's toes in reality We're all here to share what we've learned, to share how we do things, and I just think it's the best thing in the world when it's picked up on and someone takes it on in their own style. So again, thank you for the time that you've taken to spend with me, and happy crafting. Bye bye for now.